Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us at UVM's Continuing in Distance Education. We are going to talk about how to be successful in an online class today. I had just asked in the chat box, has anyone taken an online class? And I see that Francesca just said about 15 or more years ago, but not with UVM, and Mike has never taken one. So we're really excited to have you guys here today so we can learn a little bit from one of our instructional designers, Carolyn Siccama, how to successfully be in a course online and what does that mean. So let's dive in to our presentation today. My name is Nicole DeWillier-Fenton. I'm the Content Marketing Manager at UVM's Continuing and Distance Education. And as we've kind of started, that chat box is a great place for you to put any questions. And I will be monitoring those questions throughout the presentation and sharing them with Carolyn or answering them or having support on our team here to answer any questions that we may need to as well. So we're going to learn a little bit more about Carolyns' background and what it means to be an instructional designer too. What is online learning at UVM, how to be a successful online student, which is probably why you're here. If you're going to take an online class, how are you going to be successful at that? What are some online resources? And we'll take a look at Blackboard, which is our online learning platform. Carolyn will do a live demo of some of the really important aspects of Blackboard so you feel comfortable in getting into that platform for your first online class. And we'll take a quick look at some of the online classes that are coming up very quickly as we kick off the new year. So thank you, everybody, for coming. And Carolyn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, so Carolyn, give me a little bit of your background. I know there's a strong nutrition background for you as well. How did you morph into instructional design? And what is instructional design for folks who may not know what that term is?
Well, my background is in nutrition education, and I started teaching a course in nutrition online over 20 years ago, and I absolutely loved it. So got into the field of instructional design in terms of helping faculty design, develop, and teach online courses and using best practices, active learning, strategies to engage and motivate and retain students in online courses. And I absolutely love it.
That's awesome. And it's reflective in some of our courses as well. One of the things that I think is really important that we can touch on is that online courses are just as difficult as a course that you are sitting in a classroom. And so you're getting the same caliber of instruction and academic rigor as you would expect from the University of Vermont. And so sometimes I think there's a misperception that, oh, that won't be as difficult to take an online course. It's no more difficult or less difficult than a course that you would expect the curriculum to be if you're sitting in a classroom. Do you get that question a lot from folks? What can I kind of expect in terms of the difficult level in an online course?
Yeah, I think we get it a bunch. I think it's getting, as online education becomes
a little less,
more and more prevalent and people taking more online courses are comfortable with that and realize that these are 3-credit courses, or obviously if it's a non-credit course, non-credit. But for our 3-credit courses, it's oftentimes the same faculty member that you're going to get online as you have on campus. Same rigor, same expectations. It just might be the way that the content is developed or the way that you're submitting assignments might be a little bit different.
Yeah, so, and that's a good point too, because there are many, many opportunities to take online courses today that there was not there, 15 years ago when Francesca took something. So I think people are getting just more comfortable with the idea of that. So what exactly do we mean by online learning at UVM? What are some examples of what a student could expect in an online class?
So as you could see on the slide here, the courses are completely online. So that means that when you log into your course, there's no expectation that you need to come to campus at all. It means that the lectures are online, you interact with your faculty member online, maybe by email. Any assignments that you need to do are turned in online. It doesn't mean that physically doing the assignment you need to be online. Like some faculty might send you off on a field trip to a grocery store or to a farmer's market or something like that to do something, observe something, and then come back and share it with the class. So depending on the course and the instructor, it depends. Tests can be online, submitting assignments online, and what we really focus on is interaction and making sure that there's a rich community of learners who, you're part of a learning community. You don't just come in on day one and do your work and then leave. It's being part of that, introducing yourself, making your experience and background and interests known and for the instructor and your peers and our our courses are quite interactive.
And it's really a great networking opportunity.
Absolutely.
I think that times,
Yep.
I've taken 2 online courses here at UVM, and the interactions with my peers in the course have continued, on LinkedIn afterwards and various different ways
Absolutely.
to network. And
Yep.
so you are creating a community over a shared topic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Again, as I've suggested in the beginning, because I see lots of new people coming in, if you have any questions, please put them into the chat box. I'll keep an eye on that. Or if you want to share with us if you've ever taken an online course, or if you're looking forward to, or feeling a little nervous about taking your first online course, we'd love to hear that as well. We talk a lot about why you would take an online course. Perhaps it's you're thinking of changing careers, you're looking for a career advancement, you're interested in just gaining a new skill. But probably one of the big drivers why people choose an online course is because of the flexibility and fitting that into, because majority of our continuing and distance education students are working professionals. And so what are, in your opinion, what are the benefits of an online course here at UVM?
Again, I think convenience, the flexibility is big, and that's what students really enjoy, especially working students. I think the challenge, though, is time management.
Right.
And we hear it over and over again from students. And it's a matter of, making sure from day one that you look at that schedule and putting these times, I would say every day, on your calendar for 20-minute, watch this video for a few minutes, read this article the next day, check in the discussion board every day or every other day. Again, that's all the building community. That's part of the interacting and learning the materials.
And I think it's a lot about shifting the way that you've been doing ththings.
Absolutely.
For example,
Yep.
Taking your laptop with you to your daughter's gymnastic class on Saturday morning, so that you can read an article. That you're not going to get the whole assignment done sitting there while also watching gymnastics class, but you start to see how you can fit your classwork into things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so we also have some good tips here, and Carolyn touched on them already, but let's dive a little bit deeper into, what is the expectation to help you be successful as an online student? If you want to go through, some of these tips, I think these are ones that you originated as well. And we have lots of blog posts too. If you want to click onto our blog on our learn.uvm.edu, there's a lot of different content in there as to how to help you be successful. And so do you want to just walk us through some of these tips as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, too, that I'd like to just point out is the first one is participate 5 to 7 days a week. And that's something where we don't want students to post on the first day, the module may open, and then not come back for the rest of the week. You're not going to feel, you might feel isolated, you might not feel like you know the students, but if you are there on a regular basis and contributing and participating and sharing an article you might have just read in the news about a certain topic, it makes you feel more engaged, it makes you feel more part of a community and less likely to maybe drop out if you're feeling isolated and not really sure where you are in the class. So I would say at least every day, if not every other day, is logging
Checking in.
And that doesn't mean spending hours of time there either. Checking in, looking at the discussion board, following the threads of discussion that you might be participating in, and continuing those trains of thought.
And one of the things that I love about, and Carolyn will show us more in Blackboard, is the opportunity to go back and review things. And so, I'll watch, as I was mentioning, watching some videos and doing some reading while also at gymnastics for my daughter on Saturday morning. And I felt like I didn't fully retain it. I get the concept and I understand what we're trying to do, but it feels really great to then have that opportunity to go back and listen to that lecture again. And that to me is one of the hugest advantages of having an online class, is that you can really learn at the style that is beneficial to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, like if you're in a lecture-based class and it's, an hour long, if you're there, you listen and you go away and you don't have that opportunity to listen again or refresh your memory of what that instructor might have said. It might just be based on your notes that you took, which are skeletal as you were trying to take notes.
Right, absolutely. And you talked about working with others on completing projects. Sometimes that depends on the course. You may have in some of the courses, I know in our Masters of Public Health, which is completely online, there are teams that work together on different projects. And so how does that kind of come to fruition in some of our online classes?
Yeah, there's definitely group work, and there might be required teams, there might be small group discussions, which in a large
Yep.
class, we might break it down where you're not required or dependent on another student to do your work. It's just a smaller group.
Got
You've
it.
got a class of 30 students, but a small discussion group of 5 or 6. It feels more, a little bit more
More achievable and more intimate. And,
more
yeah.
intimate. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of is along those lines. And then there definitely are group projects where students, every member has a role, and they are expected to fulfill that role, which is very challenging for, if you're working full time and you're trying to work on a group project. But again, it comes back to time management.
Right.
Identifying roles. We have some tools available where students can have like a live session using Zoom or using Microsoft Teams, which are all tools that we have here at the university available for students.
And I think that touches as well using technology, just making sure that you have everything that you need to be successful on your computer, and utilizing some of these other tools, and also checking in with our advisors. They're here to help. There may be, you might be struggling, or you may be having a difficult time. Likely they've heard everything, and are there to help you figure out a solution if there's a particular problem. And talking with your instructors.
Oh, absolutely.
That's probably one of the most important things that I learned. I had one of the online courses that I was taking, there was kind of a little bit of a family emergency that just took me out of town, and so I knew I was going to be delayed on one piece. And so while of course that was reflected in still my grade on that particular assignment, I was able to contact and discuss with the instructor and make sure that he was aware of that. And so I think that's so important that in an online setting, in any setting, but in an online setting, you have that opportunity and they want to hear from you.
Oh, absolutely. Reach out. Stuff comes up all the time. You did the right thing. Because if they don't hear from you, as an instructor, like, are they okay? Is there a problem?
Right.
Did they drop the course? Which, an instructor can obviously find out, but just be in touch. That's why they're there. They're there to help you succeed.
Right.
And if there's something that they don't know, or you do need an advisor, then, they can refer you to the right person.
Absolutely. And that kind of goes to one of the points here about, completing assignments on time. One of the great things about having an online course is that it really is end of day, that it's due. And so, if you're in a physical course, you have to make it to the assignment. It has to be finished at that class time. But if when you're in an online class, you really have, I have hit send on an assignment at, 11:47 p.m. And so I still made it in on time. And so you just have that more flexibility, or you could start first thing in the morning. Sometimes it's really effective maybe getting up a little earlier in the morning to work on an assignment or finish something that you had wanted to do. So that's the beauty of having the online environment and good time management, is that you can manage that expectations with what comes up in your life.
Yep, exactly. And I think that goes back to the first day, looking at the syllabus, the first day of the class, identifying due dates of things, and then really putting it into your own personal schedule. There's a big paper due here, work back from there. And really, don't leave it to the last minute. But they seem pretty simple and straightforward, but it's amazing how time just goes so quickly. And then you're like, oh, the paper's due tomorrow. Whoops. But yeah, use that calendar and the syllabus.
And especially if you haven't taken a course in a while, like many of us, and Francesca's example, she hasn't taken one in 15 years. And so it takes a little bit to kind of get back into the routine of doing that. So we want to take a pause here. And Carolyn, why don't you, kind of stop sharing the screen there, and let's open up Blackboard. She's going to give us a live demo. So we'll just kind of switch over to our online learning platform, Blackboard. And while she's doing that, let's just answer this quick question from Jim. Do any of these courses count towards degree programs? And yes, it just depends on what you're doing. For example, really it depends. We have a online degree completion program. So if there's an opportunity that you have not completed your bachelor's degree, there's an online degree completion program to get you to that completion. There are certificate programs, online certificate programs in our public health program that also can feed into the public health master's program as well. And there's a slew of actual certificates in digital marketing, in business of craft beer, in speech language pathology. It's really, the opportunities are endless. And you can see, if you go onto our website and you click you look at all programs. You can search by format. So you could look at online as a format and see all of the online courses as an option. So let's take a look. Carolyn, why don't you just walk us through what is a kind of an experience that a student would expect in Blackboard?
Yeah, sure. So what I brought up here is our Blackboard, which is our learning management system where all of our courses are housed. And if you do register for a course, there's a list of courses here that say My Courses. And now for this example, I teach a summer course called Fundamentals of Nutrition, so I'll be showing that to you. And you would click on the name of the course and it would bring you into the course. I think the big thing here is there's this left menu here along the left where you could see a Getting Started page. And it's almost like the introduction to the class. So the first thing you do is click on Getting Started and you'd see maybe, in this case, it's a welcome video from me along with some overview of the class and then what to do next. So really trying to guide you through, okay, it's your first time here. This is where you get started. And you're sharing?
Hang on one second. Yeah, keep sharing. Sorry about that, everybody. We just had a little a click that went a different direction, so give us 1 second.
Okay.
Right back on it. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so again, the link to the syllabus, which is something you definitely want to read carefully and thoroughly and reach out to the faculty member if you have any questions. And the content of the course, I'll just quickly go in. We have, it's called course modules. And you could see here as an example, each week there's a new module. And usually they become available every week, so you could work through that. And I'll go into this first week. So we always start with an overview. You know, just like an on-campus course, usually the instructor might say, okay,
what are we going to do?
We're going to work on this, right? So a brief overview, some required reading, some assignments, and in this case, I really work on trying to build a lot of community in my course, so there's a few assignments this first week where students have to introduce themselves and send me an email and do different things. And then the online lectures, I have some PowerPoint slides with some audio lectures. Integrated in there is like some knowledge checks along the way, so it's not just passive, so you know, you might listen to a few slides and then take a little quiz. I've got something in here which is a question that then comes to me as a Google Doc, and I take that and make it a word cloud based on what they've told me. So that is really for this particular week. And we try to make our modules consistent from week to week, so you don't have to learn, okay, this is what the first week looks like, then
it's different the next week.
It's different the next week. So we do that. And then their discussion board, we have, as I said earlier, like to have our courses quite interactive. And so students are usually asked to introduce themselves so you can kind of build that community. And then from there, each week there may or may not be a discussion. And that might be written. Sometimes I ask students to post an image and we do a visual discussion. And that's fun too in a nutrition class. It can be very visual. So, you know, really trying to be creative in how we engage students in classes. And it's not just, you know, write this and respond to that kind of thing.
Great.
And then there's a list of assignments. And in my course, I've got weekly knowledge checks. There's, actually, let's take a peek.
Yeah, sure. Show us.
They have a reading reflection journal 1 week. Knowledge, I have using some of the publisher's materials, which is really great because this is a foundational class that almost everyone at UVM has to take. So using some publisher's materials, they had to take a knowledge check prior to doing the material and then one post. So really trying to assess, well, what do they know before they go in? And then what do they know when they're done? And I've got really good feedback from students on that. So a lot of the knowledge checks, and then at the end, since this is a nutrition class, they have a full dietary assessment project where they have to basically do 3-day diet analysis, the full analysis of that, and then analyze their diet and strengths and weaknesses. So that in a nutshell is the course. I will scroll up here and just show you that There's, of course, an email where you could email your faculty member directly. And the My Grades is where students can go and check their progress. And we work very closely with faculty to make sure faculty are grading students on
in a timely manner.
You know, at least within a week for a, you know, a paper or something, and quick feedback. So students, and you know where you are in the course, and you can always check the My Grades area.
Great. And let's stop sharing that, and we'll head back over to the presentation. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really, I think the point here is it shouldn't be intimidating. It's intuitive, and to try to understand, maybe, we'll see what happens, huh? Kelly, I'm not sure if you want to give a
Kelly, can you stop sharing that?
Okay. So I think we're just going to switch over to the presentation, but it really is, it shouldn't be intimidating to go into an online class because there are tools in here. It's intuitive. It can show you where your grades are, where your assignments are, and there's always somebody to help. There's support people in Blackboard as well. The instructors do a lot of training with Carolyn and her team also. And so it's really, it's an opportunity to learn something new, and very likely if you feel comfortable in social channels and feel comfortable in navigating things that we're used to seeing today online, then an online course shouldn't be intimidating as well. And again, we have a lot of support to be able to help you do that. So a few things that are coming up if you are considering your first online course or want to just take something to give it a try. One thing that's really interesting about the University of Vermont is you can take a class without being a degree student. You can take a class as a non-degree student, as non-credit, just to try something out. You could take perhaps Carolyn's nutrition class online. And so you can try things. If there's an interest area that you have, the University of Vermont is open to you. And so then there's also courses that are our online courses that are starting here pretty soon that are focused in digital marketing. There's a short course in digital marketing called Advanced SEO that's coming up in March. And then there's two courses out of our, one is out of our College of Medicine, the Larner College of Medicine. The other one is out of our College of Agricultural and Life Sciences that have to deal with cannabis. And so those are all online courses. And there are also degree programs. As I mentioned before, there are degree completion programs that are online here at UVM. There are graduate programs that are online at UVM. And so really it's, what are you looking to do? There's other health programs. Our end-of-life doula program is a fully online. So if you're interested in continuing your education, then there are many opportunities here for you online. So I did see that Mark just asked if the slides will be shared. They will. Thank you for asking that. Are there any other questions that folks have? Are there common questions that people throw at you when you say that I'm an instructional designer and I teach an online class? Do you get a question most often from folks that are out there in the community?
Yeah, they say, what's an instructional designer?
Yeah, I bet, right? I know.
But I think a lot of people have taken an online course, if not here, maybe some of the free courses that are out there, and may have seen it before. So it's but if you are brand new, we will be here to help you.
Yes.
And as Nicole mentioned, our advisors are incredible. And if you're not sure where you want to start, is talk to one of them.
Yep.
And they have you can meet with them on campus, or they have online times for meetings, right? So you could really just pick their brain and identify what might be appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully you will consider taking an online course, or maybe that you've signed up for one, and so this is a good glimpse behind the curtain a little bit about what you're going to expect. Typically in online courses here at UVM, the course module starts on a Wednesday, and then your assignments may be due on Sunday, and then maybe a larger assignment due for that module on Tuesday. And so you can start to see how you would plan your week. And my experience has been that it was a lot heavier kind of I felt like from Friday to Tuesday, I felt like my workload was a little bit heavier, but then I could, Wednesday morning, take a deep breath and then regroup again, and then plan out the rest of the week. And as Carolyn said, it's really looking at your calendar. How do you, things are going to come up, and you still want to be able to maybe take a yoga class or go out to dinner with a friend and make sure that you're still meeting the other, extracurricular activities that your kids may have. And so it's all about penciling that in and trying to figure out when is the opportunity. I love seeing, people eating lunch in our office that are studying or reading an article as well. So it's a matter of just really thinking about how do you look at your schedule and you look at your life and incorporate this in if this is a goal for you. So thank you very much, everyone. We'll end there since I don't see any questions coming in. If you have any follow-up questions, please do reach out to us on our website. We would love to hear from you. As we mentioned earlier, there's lots of blog entries on our site that are talking about how to do this successfully and examples of people that have done that. So hopefully you can see yourself in an online course at UVM. Thank you, Carolyn, for your time today.
You.
Yeah, no problem. And have a great afternoon, and we'll follow up with the slides afterwards.